Well, good morning from the hot lead zone. It's Fortune Cookie 45 LC bidding all you shooters and reloaders out there a good day. Well, I was going to order some bullet molds from Midway USA, but they were out of stock on a couple of them. So I decided to give Lee Precision a call directly and order from the factory. And so here's what I got. And the reason why I'm getting new bullet molds is because of the powder coating now that's so good. The designs that I just ordered will do very well with powder coating. So let's show you what I got here. Got 3 6-cavity bullet molds and 3 sets of handles for them. So let's just put these 3 sets of mold handles aside here and show you the molds that I got. First one, get that in focus. It's the fine 230 grain 45 caliber truncated cone in the tumble lube design. Now this also has a bevel base. So bevel base bullets don't do as well in sizer lubricators because when you put this into a sizer lubricator, the lubricator will try to put lube around that bevel. And sometimes you'll get lube getting all over the base of the bullet because of that. So we used to try to avoid the bevel base designs for our sizer lubricators unless we're using a gas check or something like that. But that's one of the reasons why I avoided this particular bullet all these years. But now that we're doing powder coating, that's the time to go ahead and give this one a try. So that's what we're doing here. Now cardboard packing is really an ingenious thing and amazing what you can do with cardboard, because you see how this is kept from any kind of damage during transit. Is you got a little tab here that holds this from flopping around, well protected. So here is the Lee 6-cavity bullet mold, and it is no good without the handles. I know that some reviewers have had a problem with Lee 6-cavity molds because they didn't expect the handles to not be included. But it is clearly stated that's not included, but we often assume that there should be handles on these. So this is about $40 from Midway USA. A little more expensive directly from Lee, but this is the truncated cone 230 grain 45 caliber tumble lube design, and you see that? Very nicely made molds, well machined aluminum, well finished, and that closes up like a bank vault. And there's that nice sprue plate with the little leverage system. By the way, this in here can break, so we want to make sure we don't have to really crank that too hard when we're opening it, so that on a cold mold there's always a danger that we could have to over crank that and snap that, break this piece off in here. So we got to be careful of doing that. So one of the ways to do it is to make sure that this is well heated before you start casting. Here are the screws. You take these out and then you put the mold handles on and put the screws back in. That's all there is to it. Looking forward to using this 45 caliber mold. Once we tumble lube that with the powder coat and then heat treat the powder coat, should make a very nice bullet. Now notice that it doesn't seem to have real deep venting, but I'm sure Lee's got a good venting procedure in there, so I'm not going to worry about it unless I have problems casting, and I don't. This other type of design here where they uses kind of like micro venting still works very well. Now we'll peel this little sticker off. And what I'll do is I'll degrease this mold before I use it with some paint thinner and some brushing with soap and water. Some casters like to hit this with a lot of brake cleaner, this kind of thing. But paint thinner will work. Just brushing it out with soap and water usually will take out that grease real well. Then we start casting and we'll start getting good bullets on the first, second, or third pour. Okay, next one up is a 9mm 124 grain truncated cone So we're going truncated cone with these new ones, and it again is a tumble loop design with a bevel base. So once again, that's one of the reasons why I shunned getting this mold in times past, because of the bevel base didn't do well in the sizer lubricator. But now that we're doing powder coating once again, this is going to work out perfect. This is one of Lee's very popular 9mm molds, their truncated cone. And let's go ahead and have a look at those. We'll open this up. And look at this. It has some real nice scoring. It's not quite what we call engine turning, but we have these little arcs of venting, and those arcs are carried onto the inside. Now they don't do that for the 45 caliber mold, but maybe because there's more surface, the micro venting is all you need. But this has certainly more robust venting. Should work out very well. But this 9mm mold will do well for 9mm, but also powder coated for 38 Special 357 Magnum should be perfect. 124 grains, nice light bullet, saves on metal. Make a nice light bullet for the 38 Special 357 Magnum. In fact, cowboy action shooters should really love this bullet if they are not using the 105 grainer, that is. I know a lot of the cowboy action shooters like the even lighter 105 grain semi-wadcutter. But this should be a very nice bullet, very versatile one for 9mm and 38 caliber. Once again, the same problem with the thin metal in here. If you have to crank that too hard, you could break off that handle right inside here for the sprue plate. So it behooves us to have this sprue plate nice and hot when we're doing our casting. That way the sprue cuts easily and doesn't strain this part too much. Finally, in here we have another 6 cavity mold, and it is the Lee 45 caliber 200 grain semi-wadcutter tumble loop design, and again it has the bevel base. So another reason why I did get this mold way back when, because of that bevel base. I wanted to have the square bases. But this happens to be a very good 45 caliber bullet, and now with the powder coating it should be nearly ideal. Again, nicely finished blocks. Even though we don't like aluminum as a rule, for these 6 cavity mold blocks, the aluminum works very well, and it certainly is a less expensive material. Once again, we don't have the real robust venting like you saw in the 9mm mold, but this has the micro venting that Lee uses. This is the blunter semi-wadcutter, not the long nose Hensley and Gibbs 68 design. But nice tumble lube, grooves, shallow, will work very well with powder coating. So again, I'll peel this off and probably use a little paint thinner to get rid of the residue. Probably use a paint thinner to clear out a lot of the grease in there, and then might even go ahead and give it a soap and water brushing, and then go ahead and cast with it. We'll install the mold handle and we'll go from there. We'll show you those Lee molds again close up now that they're all installed with the handles, and you can see the quality in these 6 cavity molds. They do a lot nicer job than the 2 cavity molds. It's worth the extra money. If you handle these compared to a 2 cavity mold, 2 cavity molds about $20. One of these from Midway USA is about $50. So you're going to spend twice as much money for one of these, but you're going to get 3 times the performance, actually over 3 times the performance. To show you that last one, so I've come to appreciate using the 6 cavity molds much more than the 2 cavity molds, because I feel like I'm casting in quicksand when I'm using the 2-cavity mold, but when I cast with one of these 6-cavity molds, I feel like I'm driving a high-performance car. And when you see 1,500 bullets at the end of the casting session instead of about 300 bullets, you really understand that these are a lot more of a value